Quite often, I'm asked to explain virtualized networking. It's an interesting concept because I think even though it's been around as an idea for quite a long time, it's only really getting to reality for a lot of customers about now. So here's how I explain it to try and make it a bit simpler for you. Here we've got two physical hosts. On each host, we've got a virtual machine, the hypervisor, and then the network card up there. I've drawn the virtual machine under the hypervisor, but I'm allowed to. So up here, we've got the network. This big fat pipe, which I'm going to call the network. And it's layer 2, layer 3 network connectivity. So how does a packet get from one VM to the other? So here's my packet. Here's a message goes out through the hypervisor, through the network card, and it goes along, and it gets to about here. Now, about here, it goes into the magical world of networking, which is this huge cloud of networking devices. And up here, we've got routers, we've got firewalls, we've got load balancers, and many other devices besides that you'd see in a network. And so this packet will then go up via some routers, maybe firewalls, back to a router, through a load balancer, through another firewall, and then back down again, over here, through the network card, through the hypervisor, down to the VM. All very simple. Now, what you're trying to do is improve that. So how do you make that better? Well, if you're a networking company, you can only see the picture from here upwards. So you're looking at this mess, and you're trying to work out how do you improve it. So step number one, you think, well, rather than having people manually configure this, let's automate it. So let's have, I don't know, a protocol called OpenFlow or something like that that allows me from here to centrally talk to and configure all of these devices. Now, what we'd like to do is, as marketing people in networking companies, is call that SDN, which it isn't. It's actually software-controlled physical networking, SCPN, as I like to call it. And so the next big thing that people are talking about is NFV, or Network Feature or Function Virtualization. What's that? Well, that's saying, well, actually, we, the networking people, have heard that virtualizing things is cool, so we're going to virtualize our routers. So you take what you know as a router, and you run it, or a load balancer, or a firewall, or anything else, as a VM. And now it's more flexible. All the benefits we got in compute virtualization, you now attribute to that, which makes a lot of sense, especially for telcos. But again, still, you'll see that marketed as SDN, or NFV. When really what NFV actually is software-controlled, virtualized physical networking, SCVPN. Still not what we call SDN or virtualized networking. So what is virtualized networking? Well, to understand that, you have to look at this picture the way that the computing people did when we were looking to build the software-defined data center or an operating system for data centers. We had the luxury of being able to look at this picture from here downwards, not from here upwards. When you look at this picture from here downwards, you realize that the packet, in both cases, goes through the hypervisor. So what if we put something here in the middle, and we'll call it NSX, that talks to all of the hypervisors, explains to them how packets should be handled in terms of security, in terms of flow. And so now what actually happens to a packet is it leaves the VM, and at the hypervisor point, NSX then gives it a series of instructions as to how it should be handled. From then on, it goes up here to the network, and then at the network stage, it goes through a tunnel. Now, this tunnel is what you'll hear referred to as VXLAN or other technologies, that just goes across the top as an overlay on the physical network and pops out the other end. Back through the network card, down here to the VM. What that means is I've cut out all of this stuff, meaning that all I actually need from my network is something that moves packets fast, which is why you're seeing the rise of white box switch vendors such as Cumulus Networks, Quanta, etc. So the real advance here is that we've moved all this intelligence, all the stuff that was previously done by these boxes at the top, we've moved it down to be part of the machine. We've not taken a router and virtualized it. We've taken a router and made it part of the machine. So now all the intelligence, all the layer 3 to 7 thinking happens here in the hypervisor. There's some good side benefits to this, because if I've got two VMs on the same machine, actually the traffic between those VMs will never leave the physical host. Whereas in the old world, it would have come all the way up here to go all the way back down again. So in essence, The next time someone asks you what's network virtualization, you can say, well, it's not NFV. It's not OpenFlow. It's not what you're hearing people call SDN. In fact, it's taking networking as a thing, the intelligence behind networking, and making it part of the machine. That's what we're doing at VMware.